You mentioned the perfect quarterback rating in the first half for Gardner Minshew. He completed his first 11 passes. Yeah, he threw the one away to end the streak at 11. Of those 11 passes that he completed, I believe I could have completed at least 9. I think Johnny Mack could have completed 10 out of 11. That's how wide open the wide receivers, a.k.a. at the tight end, mostly Dallas Goedert, he got the 2 touchdown passes. There was nothing about Gardner Minshew's 11 for 11 that I said, wow, oh my God, is this what a real quarterback looks like? That was not the case. The Jets defense stinks. Specifically, the Jets secondary stinks. You got the MAGA Mac guys, John McMullen and Jody McDonald, both made it back without an issue down the Jersey Turnpike after the Eagles' victory over the Jets. I'm just checking. I got a mustache. McMullen's got a mustache. Both are way too gray for us to be stating our preference for the Eagles quarterback position, although there are Gardner Minshew mustaches breaking out all over the Delaware Valley. J-Mac, how was your day yesterday at MetLife Stadium?
It was fine. It is what it is. Going up to MetLife back-to-back, the New York portion of the Eagles' schedule, which they should have gotten out, let's be honest, with consecutive wins. So they salvaged the back end. Liza Minnelli singing the song after week 1, Frank Sinatra after week 2. So they needed that win. They got that win. And here we are. I knew it was going to happen. The question is, I couldn't imagine. Look, I thought the Eagles were going to win the football game. We talked about that. Gardner Minshew, Jalen Hurts, Reed Sinnett. I thought they were going to find a way to win the football game. I didn't think Gardner Minshew would be perfect in the first half of football. And that's what he was by the NFL's definition. The NFL's definition, obviously, 158.3 is a perfect passer rating. Oh, he was 158.3, Jody. 158.3. 14 out of 15, I believe. And the one incompletion was a throwaway. That's why it didn't hurt his a failed screen. He just threw it into the ground. Didn't hurt his passer rating. Look, you saw this offense, and that's what I said. This is an opportunity to gather information. Now, you add in the opponent, and nobody knows better than you the struggles the Jets are having. And they were terrible defensively, and that enters into it. You saw this offense from a passing perspective work with Gardner Minshew. Now, you know, the Eagles knew it was coming. They said they knew it was coming, didn't care. Again, after the game, Nick Sirianni said Jalen Hurts is the starter. When he's healthy, he's going to be the starter. I'm a little bit surprised. One of your other jobs, obviously on WIP, I knew they were going to put up the poll early this morning. I checked it a while ago, so I don't know where it is, but it's pretty heavily slanted towards Jalen Hurts, which surprises me, to be honest. But there's going to be a minority at the bare minimum. It's here. You know, the old Wedding Crashers joke, I wrote about this in Philly Voices. If you watch that movie, and everybody should, I hope they have. Crab cakes and football, that's what Maryland does. Cheesesteaks and quarterback controversies, that's what Philadelphia does. And here we are. Here we are, Jody.
Very good. For those of you on the Gardner must be the man bandwagon, you might want to turn out for a second, because I'm going to tip you to something that you're probably not going to want to hear. You mentioned the perfect quarterback rating in the first half for Gardner Minshew. He completed his first 11 passes. Yeah, he threw the one away to end the streak at 11. Of those 11 passes that he completed, I believe I could have completed at least 9. I think Johnny Mack could have completed 10 out of 11. That's how wide open the wide receivers, a.k.a. at the tight end, mostly Dallas Goedert, he got the 2 touchdown passes. There was nothing about Gardner Minshew's 11 for 11 that I said, wow, oh my God, is this what a real quarterback looks like? that was not the case. The Jets defense stinks. Specifically, the Jets secondary stinks. They just allow guys to run free through the secondary with no real justification, no real defense whatsoever. Now, there's a skill. Yeah, I'm not completely devoiding everything that Gardner Minshew accomplished. You have to be able to find the guy. You have to be able to see the guy. You have to be able to deliver the football. And he's got, people talk about Jalen Hurts' arm strength. Jalen Hurts got a better arm than Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, he does.
I don't think either one of them has an above average arm.
Don't.
But if you're saying which is the lesser of the two evils, well, that would be Jalen Hurts' arm strength. Gardner's probably a more accurate passer. But again, in this game yesterday, he just needed to get it out there. The wide receivers and the tight ends and the running backs out of the backfield were so wide open. Basically, anybody could have thrown them the ball. Kudos to Gardner for getting it done. 11 for 11 is 11 for 11. But I'm telling you, it was not that great an accomplishment because the Jets defense flat out stinks.
And I said you have to add that context. I agree with everything you just said, except two things. One, I'm probably not going 11 for 11. All right, I'll be honest about it.
No, I had you for 10.
10?
I was
Maybe,
9 of 11.
maybe.
I gave you the benefit of the doubt.
All right.
I gave you 10.
I'm probably not kidding. I'll say that. Now, the one thing you said I think is important. You're right. Gardner Minshew has, if anything, a weaker arm than Jalen Hurts. But you said anybody can complete 11 of those 11 passes. Part of completing, you're right about the guys being open. Part of it, though, is getting the football out on time. And that's been Jalen Hurts' biggest weakness as a quarterback, doing everything on time. From my perspective, as somebody, I'm not looking at the perfect passer rating. I know everybody's going to look at that. I'm looking at how the offense is running. The two things that improved dramatically, two things in my estimation. One, you saw not, and you never know this when you're watching a football game. You've seen it over the weeks where the Eagles have had trouble getting the play in. You never know. Is that the coaching staff getting the play call in late? Is that Nick Sirianni fumbling around, getting it in too late to Jalen Hurts, and all of a sudden you have an issue with the clock and you got to call timeout, you take it to whatever. None of that. None of that. It was a sharp outfit. Everything like a watch that you just set, everything working on time, perfectly, ball getting. The second part of that is get the football out. If Dallas Goedert is open and he's progression one, trust your eyes, get the football out. Jalen Hurts doesn't do that. So that's why I say you say anybody can go 11 for that. No, you can't, because if you don't get the football out and you don't trust your progression, you don't trust the guys open, ain't going. So that part of it is where I think Jalen Hurts struggles and Gardner Minshew does better. Now, the problem is, look, if you continue with Gardner Minshew at quarterback, anybody at Jacksonville will tell you this, defenses will quickly adjust. They will take away that first read. They will take away the intermediate stuff because he can't throw the football deep, and it will start to get slowly uglier and uglier and uglier. To me, the most important part is the gathering information part. I talked about that last week. The Eagles got some information on Jalen Hurts, and not all of it good. Bottom line with this offense, neither of these guys is probably the answer long term. So your question is, who gives us a better chance to beat Washington after the bye? The Eagles think that's Jalen Hurts. They continue to be consistent on that. I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious. You're better in the passing game with Gardner Minshew, and you're better in the running game with Jalen Hurts.
Johnny Mac, you say the Eagles have been consistent in saying that's Jalen Hurts. Well, that's one guy. Now, he's the most important guy. I'm not trying to downplay the fact that the head coach should be the person who dictates this more than anyone else. But you and I have both been around the Eagles long enough to know that it is a collaborative. Every decision is a collaborative decision from the top, and I mean the tippy top, all the way down. Are we sure that all those other important rungs in the ladder before we get to the stable bottom step, the head coach Nick Sirianni feels the same?
No. In fact, I think, I should say there's two layers to that. They probably do when it comes to Hurts versus Minshew, but again, longer term, no. I don't think anybody is sitting there saying Jalen Hurts is the long term quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think, ironically, the closest person to that would be Jeffrey Lurie because he advocated to draft Jalen Hurts probably a little bit before he should have been drafted. And you hang on to that as an evaluator, and I put the quotations on that lightly for the owner of the football team. But nonetheless, I think it's short term, long term. Short term, I think everybody's on the same page, and that's to leave Nick Sirianni alone, let him do what he wants to do. In long term, you have the organizational discussions. What are we going to do at this position? Ultimately, as I said, I don't think either of these guys is the answer. But that doesn't mean a bridge quarterback can't go into 2022. There's no rule that says you can only have a bridge quarterback for 1 year. If they can't get the Russell Wilsons, the Deshaun Watsons, if they don't evaluate Kenny Pickett as being worthy of a pick, of a top 10 level pick, then you gotta stand pat. And it might be Jalen Hurts is the starter and Gardner Minshew is the backup. That's why you traded for him. Gardner Minshew is a backup quarterback in this league. Good one.
He's a good one.
He's a good one.
Yeah, you saw yesterday. He's a good one. And there is a value to having a good backup quarterback. And that's why I want to give Minshew credit, because I felt the need to give you my honest, evaluative opinion. The Jets defense stinks.
Yeah, they were not good.
He had so many open passes that he completed in that first half.
But you got to get the ball out, Jody.
Right. Your point about not only does he get the ball out quickly, but to realize that he's did it yesterday, with a handful of snaps in the second half against the winless Detroit Lions, in which he didn't throw the ball much at all. They basically continued to run it down the Lions' throats. You attest to the fact that when you get your little look at the Eagles in practice, Gardner Minshew never gets any snaps with any of the starters whatsoever. Jalen Hurts takes every single one. Going all the way back to the first day of camp, Jalen is taking every single snap with the starters. No Joe Flacco, no Gardner Minshew when he finally showed up.
And that's not rare, by the way. That's what every team does. I mean, if you're the starting quarterback, when you're entrenched, you get all the first team reps. I mean, there's occasionally if you have a controversy, you'll start to say, let me take a look at the second string guy. Now, Gardner started getting reps this week because Jalen was hurt. I mean, and the part that annoys me is that the Eagles are, and I asked Gardner flat out after the game, when did you know you were going to start? And I didn't know until Jalen wasn't dressed. Shut up, dude. I'll say that. Dude, you knew on Friday. That's when they knew that Gardner was going to be the starter.
You think it was Friday rather than Saturday?
Yeah, I think it was Friday when they made the decision that he was going to be the starter. And that's when you saw, and our buddy Derek Gunn, who does the JAKIB Media postgame show, 6ABC, he was the first to officially report it because Derek obviously has a great relationship with a lot of players. And that's the point. I mean, they were preparing like Gardner Minshew was the starter because Gardner Minshew was the starter. I don't know what the big deal is, but whatever.
All right, Jay, a couple things. When you said, and when Jalen Hurts is entrenched, he was entrenched because they didn't really put any other option in place. Aaron Rodgers is entrenched in Green Bay.
Here. I don't mean he's a star.
Jalen Hurts here isn't quite the same thing. Yes, he's entrenched here, but it's not. We're not talking about a guy who's been the starting quarterback for the franchise for 8 years.
He's entrenched right now for this team at this particular time because they don't have a better option. In the offseason, everything's on the table.
Understood. Well,
because they got a lot of information in that game, and not a lot of it was good for Jalen Hurts.
Probably not. And you said you think that the decision was made early on Friday as opposed to Saturday when Minshew got all the walk to work. do you believe, I don't know how to phrase this, was it an unquestioned decision? Do you believe that Jalen Hurts was so injured, so hurt, so bad that he had no chance to play? I'll bet that if you ask Jalen Hurts under the code of truth and silence, could he have played? Would he have wanted to play? I think he would have told you yes, because he did. Were you not there on Thursday when he was asked the question, are you going to be the quarterback on Thursday? Yes. Plain and
there's
simple,
no
one
question
word answer.
about that. I mean, Nick admitted that after the game. He said, yeah, Jalen wanted to play. I mean, when I did see him on the field pregame, he wasn't wearing any kind of boot. There was no limp or anything of that nature. Nick admitted he wanted to play. Look, there's a reason Jalen did his normal press conference on Wednesday, now that you look at it in hindsight, and that's he was pushing to play. He wanted to play. He wanted to be out there. He knows, like everybody else, he knows what was going to happen when there's quarterback controversy in this particular city. He knew the opponent. He knew there was an opportunity to get back on track. He wanted to play. So if you want to, take that out a little bit further. Now, sometimes as a medical staff, training staff, you got to save a player from himself. There's some guys, Jason Kelsey being a perfect example. He's going to play through everything. And hopefully Jason's okay. We'll get an update. He had to leave that game late. Again, sometimes you have to save a player from himself. I didn't get that feeling this time. As I said, it wasn't like Jalen was on crutches, didn't have a walking boot, wasn't trying to keep the thing immobilized. He's out there standing like a normal person on the sidelines, support staff, practice squad player, standing on the sidelines watching the game, pregame. So, look, Aaron Rodgers, you brought up Aaron Rodgers. Everybody knows how much respect I have for Aaron Rodgers. Guy's playing with a broken toe. And by the way, putting up ridiculous numbers with a broken toe. If the Packers know if Aaron has limited mobility, he's just going to adjust and play at a high level. The Eagles don't know that about Jalen Hurts. They didn't think he could adjust and become a pocket passer and win a game that way. So that part is also, if he were more of that type of player, they probably would have let him play and said, we'll take the running part. We'll scrap the running part and just, handle things from the pocket and go beat the Jets. They didn't think they were capable of doing that, to be honest.
So do you think Sirianni, and I heard his quotes after the game, that you have to trust your medical team and you got to trust the player? I don't think he trusted the player. I think the player was telling him, I'm good to go.
He admitted that. He admitted Jalen wanted to play.
Right, but he also said yesterday in his quote after the game, you have to trust the player. And both you and I here going, you don't think the player said, I'm not quite up to it, coach. So he didn't trust the player. The player told him, I'm good to go. And he said, no, you're not, because the medical staff said you're not.
Yeah.
And by the way, I might want to take a look at Gardner Minshew. How much of that do you think went into the decision?
Well, I do think you lean on the medical staff and those types of things. And you go, wink, wink, the medical staff, you get together with them and say, well, no, he's not nearly 100%. And again, if the player's Aaron Rodgers, you go back to Aaron Rodgers and they say, well, you're nowhere near 100%. Do you think you can go? And the player says, yeah, I can go. And you say, okay, let's go. It's Aaron Rodgers. In this case, same thing happens. And the player's Jalen Hurts. And you go, no, we can't. We got to save Jalen Hurts from himself. It's just different players, different standards, because you know what the player can accomplish at less than 100%. Yes, the Eagles thought Jalen Hurts couldn't accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, which was to beat the New York Jets at where he was from a health perspective.
And Gardner Minshew did just that, completing his first 11 passes against a really suspect New York Jets defense. All right, we still got plenty to break down from yesterday's win, where that puts the Eagles, certainly the quarterback questions / controversy, is going to be part of the conversation Oh, I would guess for the next 13 days up until when the Eagles take
bye
the field
week.
again.
That happens to be the late bye week, the latest bye week. So now you have the extra week to ruminate in the controversy. Only Philadelphia, Jim.
And it's going nowhere fast, folks. You got Johnny's early remarks on it, my early remarks on it. Oh, we'll be remarking on it for the next 2 weeks here on Birds 365. And we'll bring in a bunch of other folks to let them give you their opinion on where the Eagles are at the quarterback position. And, oh, yeah, everybody else's position. Because at 6 and 7, they're very much part of the playoff picture in the NFC. Yeah. Last thought before we get the break and get our boy Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports up here. The Eagles control their own destiny. I'm sure I'm not the first to say it, and I won't be the last, but it is a fact.
Well, there's
if
a lot
they win their last 4 games, I can all but guarantee you the Philadelphia Eagles will be in the playoffs. Maybe as a wild card team. With the results of this weekend, the Eagles winning and the Cowboys winning, I'm going to go back to the work that I did 2 weeks ago on how the Eagles can potentially win the NFC East. It's going to be so friggin' difficult. It's almost impossible.
Forget about
but
that.
There's a legit chance that you can go into the last week of that season and they could tie the Dallas Cowboys in record for the divisional championship in 10 and 7.
Obviously, there's a legitimate chance if the Cowboys don't do what they're supposed to do. But the Cowboys are a good football team when they're healthy. They're getting healthier, and they're just a better football team. So I look. Well, you're right about that 7th playoff spot. Really, 6 is the Washington football team. Yeah. Well, the problem: San Francisco beat Philadelphia, so that's a concern. So I look at Washington. Because I told you, like, Minnesota's done, and obviously they have so many injuries.
Your boy's in the defensive.
Yeah,
genius.
They stopped listening.
Great job stopping the winless Lions when you need to.
Well, now there's a perfect example. No, real quick, there's a perfect example. Zim's been coaching defensive football for 157 years. You think he's not telling his players, "Oh, it's the last play of the game, guard the goal line"? They're not listening. We saw it in Andy Reid. Here, every coach has a shelf life. His shelf life is over. He's done in that particular job. They're not listening to him. My point is, you don't have to worry about that team. You don't have to worry about the Carolina Panthers, who just fired Joe Brady out of nowhere. They're a mess. All you have to worry about is the Washington football team, and you play them twice
in the next 4 games.
Yeah, coming out of the bye, and obviously then you have to go down to the worst stadium in the history of the National Football League, FedEx Stadium. But the Eagles have had a lot of success there. If they can avoid the sewage dropping down on them, it's Taylor Heineke. Look, it's all there for him. It is all there for him to make the playoffs, which is pretty astonishing to everybody but Sean McMullen and Jody McDonald, because we said they were going to be better than people think. And maybe even Jeff Kerr. I see him there.
Be very interesting if it's Taylor Heineke against Gardner Minshew, because Taylor Heineke is Gardner Minshew, and Gardner Minshew is Taylor Heineke.
Yeah,
the two quarterbacks are so similar.
Like Brett
it's
Favre.
Scary.
Yeah, that's like Brett Favre throwing fastballs against Aaron Rodgers. Taylor Heineke and
the level
Minshew.
Of comparison is accurate, but it's really different as well. All right, he's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. Yes, Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports. Ready, willing, and able to join us. He's up next here on Birds 365.